friends, and welcome to another episode of Fort Worth Roots. You can find Fort Worth Roots on all of your favorite streaming services, anywhere that you listen to music. Just look for Fort Worth Roots. Also on social media by the same name. We're very active on Instagram. We also have a TikTok and a Facebook page. I would really encourage you to check out the video for this episode on our YouTube, which is Fort Worth Roots. There's a great view, and you'll know what I'm talking about here in just a minute. We do like to talk about two of our sponsors up front whenever we have time, and we just had a huge hailstorm roll through from Brock all the way through Weatherford and parts of Fort Worth. So even if you don't think you've had roofing damage, it's good to get that stuff checked first, because some insurance companies like to play games the further you get away from a hailstorm event. So it would behoove you, and you get 50% off whenever you use the highest rated roofer in DFW, a sponsor of the Fort Worth Roots podcast for many years, Mr. Darren Houck with Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. Yeah, let's see here. They can help with all your residential and commercial roofing needs. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck is locally owned and operated, insured, and have the best experience to carry out most roofing projects. Get them online at roofingsolutionsHouck.com or by phone 817-882-6520. And just for being a Fort Worth Roots podcast listener, you get 50% off a roofing tune-up. They'll hop up on your roof, reseal all of your pipe jacks and whatnot, take pictures of any damage that they need to, and then come down and show you the whole thing. Now, this is not a bait and switch. They're literally coming out there just to give you peace of mind, knowing that your roof is good for another season, barring any kind of spectacular events. But if they do find more damage than what the 250 will cover, then they will just get up there to, hey, look, this is what we found. We can't charge you because we can't fix this for the 250. And let us know if you need our help. So anyway, great guys, been sponsors of the show for a very long time. And again, that phone number is 817-882-6520. Tell them you heard about it on the Fort Worth Roots podcast, and they'll give you a little discount on that roofing tune-up. Also, the Davis team, housing prices fluctuating, property questions, whatever you want to talk to them about, they are there to help you. The Davis team, look no further than our friends at the Davis team for all your property needs. No commitment necessary. If you have questions about property, then visit them online, yourdavisteam.com, or give them a call, 817-755-0504. And they are in the process of selling yet another home for us over here at Fort Worth Roots. They know what they're doing. Don't mess around. I've used bad real estate agents in the past, and it costs you time and money. So go with the Davis team. They got 13 full-time real estate agents on staff dedicated to selling your property or helping you find your next home. 817-755-0504. This is a very special episode that we're doing for you today. Usually, whenever I get a hold of somebody that's part of our city management, it takes a long time to get a foot in the door. This gentleman got back to me almost immediately and invited us down to City Hall to do this recording, and it was an honor. And by the way, City Hall, that new building that they have, is incredible. Just go by, check it out, ride the escalator, make a day of it. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully we'll be doing more episodes like this with people inside of our city leadership, just to help you connect the dots with what's going on around Fort Worth, inside our city, and kind of what to expect next. That is enough talking out of me. Thank y'all so much for being here. Please give it up for our friend, City Manager of Fort Worth, Mr. J. Chapa. And let's start the show. All right, welcome, folks. We are here with City Manager Jay Chapa. Welcome, Mr. Chapa. How are you today?
I'm well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for making time for us. He was just mentioning that, you plan these things out and you think you're squeezing it in when you're going to have plenty of time, but then everything else happens. Life happens.
Exactly. Everything gets busy and people want your time, and you end up with back-to-back meetings all day long.
That's the life of a city manager.
Yeah, I guess so. I should have known that.
Well, thank you very much for having us out here, and what a beautiful city hall.
It is. I mean, I was involved in actually buying the building early on, and then I left the city, and people couldn't believe that I wasn't going to stay to actually office in it.
To enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And as things turned out, I'm back, and it's beyond my realm of thought of what it would going to be like when compared to the old building that we were in and the facility, and just the views. You look out the windows and it's incredible. You get to see the whole city.
Yeah, and I've got one camera pointed straight out the window because I was overwhelmed when I walked in here, and honestly, it was a little unnerving. It's so quiet, and with everything you can see out this window, you feel like you should be hearing some rushing noises, some wind or something, but it's just very still, very quiet.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, like I said, I can at times when I get a little busy and I need a break, I'll just walk around the edges of the floor so I can look at the different vistas and see the whole city. It's
What's your favorite direction? We're looking probably east right now, right?
Probably, yeah. I think my favorite's either east, looking at downtown, or south toward the medical district, and you can see a lot of the older buildings that have been redone and those kind of things.
You know, one building kind of out that direction, is that, I think that's a university? The building right before you get to the I-30 bridge that they're renovating.
Oh, yeah, the market building?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really between on-ramps and off-ramps for I-30.
It's in a weird spot.
Yeah.
But that thing sat vacant for at least 40 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, since I got to Fort Worth 30 years ago. So.
Yeah, and they just recently decided, I guess somebody purchased it, and they're turning it into like a retirement village?
Yeah, I think the historic portion of the building and the old market building is getting converted and brought back to life and meeting historic requirements and can become a restaurant. And then behind it is I think it's a 55 and older apartment community.
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool. I'm glad to see whenever somebody takes charge of these old buildings and saves them.
Yeah,
it's nothing worse than seeing them fall apart. You know, one of the most recent things that's just really ruffled everybody's feathers was LaGrave Field, watching that thing just fall apart.
Yeah, like, demolition by neglect. Yeah, that's what I call it.
I had talked to I'm going to mess this up. Trinity Water District.
The TRWD,
yes.
Trinity River Authority, Water Authority.
I got a phone number and just kind of worked my way up the chain of command, and I got kind of the secretary for that office, and I was like, hey, you know, it's Andrew, Fort Worth Roots. I'd really like to get into LaGrave Field and take some pictures before they tear it down. And they were like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen at all. There's just no way. And I'm like, well, you know what? Hey, what if, because people are going to be sneaking in there anyway, what if I got the Fort Worth Weekly, Fort Worth Magazine, and any other local photographers that wanted to go in there, and you had an escort, and we could all go in there together. Everybody gets it out of their system. Nobody's trying to sneak in there. And they said, yeah, you know, we'll pass this along, but it's not going to happen. So anyway, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And people continued to sneak in there. But I wouldn't feel comfortable posting anything online if I didn't have permission to be in there. So I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd be putting yourself out there as trespassing. So.
Exactly, yeah. And that's, you know, I'm not trying to get any kind of criminal charges. So, well, Jay, can we let's start at the beginning and work our way forward? Where were you born?
So I'm from Mercedes, Texas, born and raised in Mercedes, Texas.
Where is that?
Which is down in the Rio Grande Valley,
okay.
the RGV, on the border between Harlingen and McAllen. So if you've flown down to South Padre Island, or you're flying into either McAllen or Harlingen.
Okay.
So grew up, it's basically on the border, 5 minutes from the Mexican border and about 45 minutes from South Padre Island itself in Brownsville. SpaceX.
Yep.
Is about 35 minutes away. So, and so I, graduated high school in the mid 80s, 85. Ended up going to school at Texas Tech out of high school, and finished at Tech with a history degree. Started off in architecture, couldn't draw. Really easy change. The freehand drawing professor said, "It looks like you're going to get a D." And I said, will you give me a C if I change majors? And he said, I won't see you in this building next semester. And I said, nope. And he said, okay. So I cut a deal with him right then and there. And so I really liked history, liked political science, that kind of thing. And so I ended up in history as a history major. Went through undergrad there. Ended up going to law school at Tech. Got through 1 year. Decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. And ended up going to grad school at University of North Texas for a public administration degree.
Okay.
So that's how I ended up in North Texas.
Okay. And when did you start kind of working with city organizations or public?
So so I always thought, I like political science. I like kind of some of the ideas of constitutional law and those kind of things. That's why I went to law school. But then I found out very few constitutional cases you deal with, you're going to be mostly dealing with criminal and civil and those kind of things and corporate law. But so I got a scholarship to go to University of North Texas, which the reason I went there is really, it was 100% because of the funding.
All right.
But it turned out to be a great school, and that program is really geared to local government.
Okay.
And so that's how it kind of pushed me toward city management or working in the city. And I worked with the city of Carrollton while I was as an intern.
Okay.
While I was at grad school. And so when I was finishing, I needed a full-time job. And so I ended up applying at various cities, and I had like 3 offers at the same time, but I chose Fort Worth just because I like the city. I like the historic nature of it.
And what position did you take?
I was a budget analyst, just this, ground level budget analyst, entry level. And so I was a budget analyst for 3 budget cycles, about a little bit over 3.5 years, and got the opportunity to move over to economic development, and was moved over to be economic development coordinator. At the time, excuse me, at the time the economic development office was part of the city manager's office, and it was only a director, an economic development coordinator, and a secretary. So it was 3-person.
We were smaller back then.
Yeah. Not that much smaller, but but one of the things it did for me was I had to do everything. So I was involved in every deal, every opportunity, every TIF that was the tax increment finance district that was around and or created. So I was actually the one that drew up and wrote the South Side TIF, put that together for the city. There's a lot of information that had been brought from community folks.
Now I'm sorry, what is a TIF? That's an acronym you're using?
Yeah, it's a tax increment finance district. So
okay.
Like there's a couple downtown, there's one on the south side, and it's basically a city can create a district that captures new value. So the existing value continues to go into the city's regular general fund, and then the city and other taxing entities can participate by putting a portion of new value taxes into a fund to help revitalize that area.
Okay, so in my mind, what I'm seeing is kind of like how we have school districts zoned.
Kind of.
You have it blocked off, and this
Right.
money goes here, and that money goes there.
Right. So for instance, on the south side, say it's the whole value down there is $1 million in value, and that creates $10 in taxes. Well, those $10 keep going to the city's general fund.
Okay.
But then as something new comes on, and that $1 million turns into $2 million, that next $10 in the city says, well, we're going to contribute 50% of that increment into this fund.
Okay.
So the general fund now gets 150, and 50 goes into this fund, and that fund can only be used in that district to help revitalize it on infrastructure stuff.
Specific things.
Right.
Yeah.
So the south side, the whole medical district and everything that's gone on there, that district is really what allowed it to do that. So as developers came in and people wanted to develop things, they would do the building, and then the TIF would pay for the water, sewer, the new sidewalks, the new street trees.
So each one of these economic areas are kind of funding themselves.
Right, from the new value
that
gets created. So you're not taking anything away from current taxpayers, and you're actually adding, because you don't put 100% into it.
Yeah.
And because you're helping that grow faster, you're growing the tax base faster.
Okay.
And then once it ends, because it's a set time, then the tax base completely goes to the city.
Yeah.
So
and you said there's a few in downtown.
Well, we probably have citywide. We'll probably have 13 of them.
Okay. So it's not like it's zoned off corresponding with zip codes.
No, it's a specific area that the city council approves for redevelopment purposes primarily.
Okay, I kind of took us down a weird
That's
rabbit
okay.
trail, but I had to know.
But so I got to do all those things personally. So I learned individually. Now that we have an economic development department, we're large, and you have various people that do different things. There's a person that does TIFs, and then there's a person that does something else, and I used to do them all. So, so one of the advantages that I got, it was a lot of work. It was before the internet, and we probably could email, but that was about it back then.
Yeah.
But the advantage I had is I really learned the laws. I really learned the processes. I learned how everything kind of played together, and it's just helped me throughout my career as I went.
You didn't just read it off of a page or watch a YouTube video. You lived it.
Exactly.
You watched it come up.
Exactly. I had to, back in the day, you'd have to prepare something for the state, 3 paper-bound notebooks that you sent down to the state and FedEx.
And everybody read every page.
Right.
Yeah, sure. That's how that works.
Exactly. They just look for the maps, make sure they're in there.
So you mentioned that you left Fort Worth for a little while. Where'd you go?
I did. So I worked for the city. I went from economic development. I actually ended up going to the water department.
Okay.
And so I was in the water department and moved up to become assistant director in the water department. And then I had an opportunity to go work for BNSF Railway. So I was on a board, a nonprofit board, and one of the board members worked in HR and for BNSF, and they were looking for somebody with my kind of background. They started talking to me. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I worked for BNSF for 3 years, and I was there for 3 years. About 2.5 years into it, or so, maybe a little bit longer. The city manager at the time, Charles Boswell, and the assistant city manager, Dale Fissler, who I used to have lunch with every once in a while. I show up for lunch, and they were both there, and basically they were asking me if I'd come back to the city to be economic development director. And so I talked to my wife about it, and she said I used to travel about 80% of the time with BNSF. And she said,
they got trains. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Go anywhere you want.
And that's funny. But my wife's like, well, so you won't be traveling much? And, we had a daughter who's young, and I'm like, no, just to conferences and stuff. She's like, you should go. So I ended up coming back to the city, ended up coming back, becoming economic development director. And then I ended up moving into the city manager's office, was assistant city manager. Then I became deputy city manager. And in 2022, January, I retired from the city because I had 25 years and I had met my retirement.
Wow.
And so, one of the reasons I retired is I kind of was young enough, thought I could do something else, something different. Mm-hmm. And I thought, David Cook was my boss, and he's a great guy, great boss, but I thought he's going to be here at least another 5 years.
Right.
And the only place I could go as deputy city manager was a city manager's position. So, so I retired. I was going to take some time off. I got contacted by Texas A&M a month out saying, we need your help on this project. Will you help us? And so I went back and forth about it. I checked with the city attorney and everybody to make sure there was no conflicts of interest because they were working with the city. And so I started consulting with them. And then after...
Is that the project going in downtown?
Yes, the project going in downtown. So I consulted with them to help, kind of lay out how the project, because there's a private entity involved to do the construction and those kind of things, putting those deals together. And since I was economic development director before, I did a lot of public-private partnerships. That's kind of my background. So, so I helped them through that project. And after a while, I'd go to meetings and people were, well, you're consulting. So then somebody else would ask me if I helped them with their projects. I worked on the Star Center that's being constructed in North Lake. I helped the city of North Lake on that project. And so there's just various projects that I actually got to work on. So I was doing consulting. It was going good. Had a lot of free time. Mm-hmm. Traveled a bunch. And then David announced that he was going to retire. And
did you start getting some phone calls?
I started getting several phone calls. At first, I was like, no, I'm not going to apply. And everything was going well. And I just kept getting more and more solicitations from, the ones that really kind of got me thinking was a couple of things. My wife and my daughter said, you always wanted to be city manager. You should do it. And so I had the family behind me. But then beyond then, I had a lot of city employees calling me, saying, we loved working for you before. We were working with you before. You should come back. You should come back. And the more I heard about it, and I kept thinking about it. So about less than a week before it closed, I decided to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring. And so the process went through, and the rest of everybody's, I guess there was a constituency that thought it was rigged because I had been here before, but I didn't put the process together, and I applied like everybody else did. So
I remember there being a thing.
Yeah. So lo and behold, I'm here, and I'm having a good time. It's busy, a lot of challenges, a lot of good challenges. I think some of the more challenging stuff is having to do with the legislative session that's about to end. There was a lot of bills that were not being very kind to local government, and so we've been having to stay on top of those. We've had some great folks on staff that have done a great job with that situation. And
now, which situation are you referring to? Education, SB, whatever?
So there are several bills throughout the session that were either going to reduce funding, the city's ability to raise funds, reduce our ability to issue debt to do projects, reduce our governance of like zoning, and local control certain things. Some of them are passed, and we're going to have to deal with those. But some of the ones that were going to hit us harder, most of those it seems like they're not going to get through.
Yeah. And which ones are you less concerned about?
Well, for instance, we don't know if it's going to go through right now. There is a bill that authorizes third-party permitting, for instance. We already have third-party permitting. So we have, if you want to get a permit for your house, you're going to build something, you can go to one of our certified third-party that we've vetted. They know the city's rules and regulations, and you can go to them, and they'll charge you an amount to go faster, right? If you want to get things done faster. They were trying to pass a law, and it's still not totally out, but that basically you could go to any engineer and have them do your permitting. Well, that's all it said.
It doesn't sound great.
It doesn't.
No.
And the whole point, or the whole issue is there's the safety part of it.
There's no oversight.
There's no oversight. If they're going to build roads and when you build a road and when you're doing a project like that and building water and wastewater lines, the city ends up owning them because we're going to maintain them forever. Well, how do we know they're built to our standards? So
Man, that's terrifying.
Oh, it's but
I'm not a fan of that.
That's a law that's still hanging on.
That doesn't even make sense. Like, who does that help?
So I guess developers are pushing it they can get things done quicker.
They've got their own lobbyists. Yeah.
It's an interesting situation when you get into that, and then as the bills start dying and they go faster, you have more and more. It becomes frantic down there.
Yeah.
And so.
I did see an article, I guess, yesterday or day before with Maddie Parker. She's holding the clapperboard. SB 22 got passed, sounds like.
Yeah.
It's got one more stop. It's got to go across Greg Abbott's desk. He's got a chance to veto it, I guess, if he wants to. But looks like it made it in there. So it's a big step for Texas film, and it's definitely going to – it's already bringing revenue to Fort Worth.
Oh, it's huge.
So.
It's huge for Fort Worth. I mean, I think the whole Studio 101, Taylor Sheridan, all those things, that the fact that they did it for 5 terms for 10 years, it provides some stability going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, in 2 years, they could pass a bill that rescind it, but that's hard to do once it gets done. So it at least provides some kind of stability so folks like that or movie studios or investors can actually invest knowing that they have a 10-year runway of having these incentives available to get things done.
Now, does the city of Fort Worth, I know that we're talking about the state right now with SB 22, but does Fort Worth offer any kind of incentives for something like that? So
we've worked with the Visit Fort Worth. So through the tourism dollars, that's where they had a few dollars that was part of that. I know the city in the last couple of years have provided through Economic Development Department maybe $100,000, $150,000 a year toward those kind of. Usually the target is to smaller filmmakers,
well, indie films and
that
projects.
kind of things, yeah. And so going forward, just because of the current situation where we are with our budget, we don't know what's going to happen with appraisal district finalizing the legislature. We'll have to see if we can continue that next year.
Yeah, see where the budget's at.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it sounds like, well, it feels like anyway that Fort Worth is definitely on the map for filmmakers.
Yes.
So and little onesie twosies shows popping up here and there, but it feels like now there's a new energy in Fort Worth for film. Yeah,
and just today actually had a meeting with some folks. There's at least 3 or 4 different groups, and it's not large scale, but that have come in and talked to some local folks or talked to us in the city about a small location that they want to convert into a studio to be able to film and offer it to independent filmmakers or small filmmakers and those kind of things. Okay. So that's really good. I mean, and I think the law passing is just going to help those things continue.
Yeah, and we've got a ton of studios around town, but none of them are probably at the scale that you would need for a large production.
Right. And I think that's where, so, we applied and the state approved a zone up in the Alliance area.
Okay.
Where Studio 101, which is Taylor Sheridan's group, and Hillwood have partnered to provide kind of larger warehouse studio
Is that
production.
Separate from Merit Media, or are they tied into that with Dr. Phil and?
It's separate.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's separate.
Yeah.
This is totally separate.
Okay. Yeah. I'd like to get all of these guys that are coming in and becoming part of our Fort Worth culture on the show, but they don't talk much.
Yeah, they don't want people to know who they are.
It really does seem like that because like Merritt Street, that's a perfect example. If you pull up their address and you go to Google View,
right,
it's like there's nothing. It's just a warehouse.
Right. Well, and I think because they probably get hit up a lot for whether it's financial or
it's dang podcasters.
Well, no, I mean, but beyond that, just
Yeah.
other folks, in general.
Sure.
It's kind of like being city manager. I get phone calls constantly.
And I got to thank you, man, because usually whenever I reach out to, it happened with Betsy Price, it happened with Maddie Parker, and a lot of different people that are busy, and they're constantly getting bombarded by folks reaching out to them and wanting their attention. I think you personally emailed me back within a couple of days, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I think it all depends if you send it on a Thursday or Friday, because I usually
or at 9 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Well, because I usually spend Saturday or Sunday trying to respond to everything I got that week that I didn't get to. So, you can talk to most of the folks that know me. That I try to be accessible as much as possible. Mm-hmm. The hard things is when people reach out to me and say we're having a neighborhood association on Thursday and it's Tuesday. Yeah, that's hard to do. And then some folks might get a little upset. Well, you wouldn't even come to our neighborhood association. Well, I had something else planned. So I always try to give folks some, just give them the heads up. Give me some time, and I can usually work you in, or we can meet if you'd like to meet. And this is really the city, other than Carrollton, for a year and a half while I was an intern. I've only worked in Fort Worth. Yeah. It's become my home. I raised my daughter here. She's now in medical school. And one more year and she'll be off the payroll, which would be great. But she loves Fort Worth. My wife loves Fort Worth. And so this is our city. And so I'm just another person. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So. Well, Fort Worth is definitely something to be proud of. I did not get raised here like you. We moved here and we decided to stay. And I think there's something really special about that. You'll talk to folks pretty frequently that were raised here and never left, and you can't blame them for that. But there is something special about people that have lived other places, showed up to Fort Worth and went, this is it, this is home.
Yeah, the number one request, I think, since I became city manager from long-term Fort Worth folks is stop growing and don't let anybody else in. We gotten too big.
Well, and this, but if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And so you get one or the other.
Exactly.
And with the way that people are managing the city, we're keeping that Fort Worth vibe, I feel like, as best we can. The thing that I've really been broadcasting as loudly as I can lately is that for the city, for small businesses, for anybody that's trying to get the word out about anything, it's very difficult right now. And the reason that is a problem is because 100 of the nation's largest businesses take up 70% of the market share for our attention. That's billboards and radio and social media and all that. So we're left with what's remaining. And anyway, all that to say that even though things are changing, you guys are doing a great job of capitalizing on that 30% and getting information out. Betsy Price was phenomenal at it, like when we were going through COVID. Mm-hmm. But, I've been to Craig Trojic's office, your PIO for the fire department. He's got his own little media station so that he can do videos. There's a lot of different examples, but Fort Worth is doing a really good job of making sure that sliver, that 30% that's left for everybody else to get their word in past those big 100 giant companies. You guys are doing a good job.
Yeah, and I think our group, communications and public engagement group, does a great job of trying to get out in different modes, because you have everybody that's still still watches TV and reads a newspaper.
Right.
And then
every demographic's getting it somewhere else.
Every demographic's getting somewhere else. And so how you communicate with folks. And then we have, the city council knows that, and they to a certain extent demand that staff be on top of those things to get the word out, because they really do want to communicate with their constituents. And that's one of our obligations to do so.
Now, the police department's out of control.
Yeah.
With those videos. Buddy Calzada's video, the car dealership
The used cars, yeah.
I mean, that hit national levels. I think he ended up on – did he go to the Kelly Clarkson show, or were they just playing the video?
I don't know, but I heard about that. Yeah, and this latest one right after the Super Bowl using that.
I don't know that officer that starred in that film, but I in my mind, I'm hoping there was a little bit of feud between him and Buddy. Who's got the better video?
Well, and I like the fact that it started off with that billboard from Dallas.
Oh, dude, that was excellent. And it is funny. It's like, Dallas, what are you doing? Our officers are not coming over there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a little funny because the city manager of Dallas now actually was in grad school with me. We both graduated the same program in 1993, and actually the city manager of Austin we're in the same 1993 MPA program. So.
Well, you got some bragging rights then, because, out of those three cities, this is the place.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Absolutely. The local economy is struggling right now, and I don't know if you feel like weighing in on this. Small businesses.
Right.
We're watching them close up by the handfuls. It's pretty wild. And I think when we had Maddie on, she said that small business owners, the mom and pop shops, make up 80% of the city's tax revenue. Does that sound about right?
Probably on the sales tax side, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that she might have said that, and I'm just misremembering a little bit. But, man, it's rough. And what would you say to some of the small business owners out there that are just really struggling with rent hikes and cost of living and everything that's just affecting it? Because it feels like within a very short amount of time, all these small businesses might be pushed out of the area, and it's just going to be Chili's, Applebee's.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, we've seen it across the board since COVID. Since everything came out of COVID. I think, as we're doing presentations on the bond program and how far the actual dollars stretch for infrastructure, our transportation public works folks have a slide that shows a 37% increase in the cost of delivering a lane mile since 2022 to 2025.
I mean, that's a lot, but it almost doesn't seem surprising with the increases we've seen across the board. Right.
But so small businesses are facing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the consumer, individuals like us and others who then patronize them, they start going less because they don't have the dollars to go as often.
That expendable income's not there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what's really pinching the small business folks, and especially if they're on the service side and they're providing services and under goods to just the general public. Yeah, they're being hit the hardest. I think if the small business is more of a vendor to Lockheed or to one of those defense industry or one of those stable industry folks, they're doing okay. But it's the small mom and pop service, restaurant, those kind of industries or businesses are having a hard time because they can only raise their prices so much for people to continue to come, and they're being squeezed on the bottom line. Right. At a certain point, a person that's running a business says, I can make more money working for somebody else than what I'm getting out of this. And so, I think at the end of the day, from the city standpoint, we're doing what we can to try to bring those folks that can afford, have disposable income. We're trying to promote that. We're trying to find ways to lessen the cost of housing by working on projects that bring affordable housing or attainable housing to people so that they can find that housing and have disposable income at the end of the day to shop at the smaller, mom and pop places. But we're, Fort Worth, even though we're a large city, we're part of the 8 million folks in the Metroplex. Yeah. And so we only affect a region so much. And as more and more folks come here, they're pushing up the values. Right. Because they're willing they need a place to stay or a place to live, and they end up, I won't say overpay, but they drive when you have competition like that, it drives up the costs up. Beyond, we have a few programs, the Business Assistance Center, that kind of helps small businesses. We have different programs like that. And then if they're struggling or they need some help, there's a possibility to them find what they need there. But
is that resource, is it available through the fortworth.gov website?
It is. It's part of the Economic Development Department. Okay. So on South I-35 in Rosedale, there's the old James Gwynn School campus, and that's like a one-stop shop for small business assistance. Okay. So you have Tarrant County College has their small business group there. We have SCORE, which is it's a organization of retired executives that help provide small businesses with accounting and leadership and CEO kind of help to help them with that. And then we also have a couple of lending institutions that will provide access to capital.
Is Tech Fort Worth in that building?
Tech Fort Worth is right there as well. So
I gave a presentation there today.
Okay. Yeah, it's all located right there. So the bigger building has more of those type of organizations in it. Tech Fort Worth's in the old gymnasium building. Yep. And then I can't recall there's a third group that's in the smaller building. So
yeah, I'm racking my brain. I can't think either.
Yeah.
I just call it the Tech Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. You picked a wild time to be the city manager, too, because I feel like we're at an inflection point where we're going to start actually seeing some unavoidable changes. But I know with the proper leadership at the wheel, you guys are going to make smart decisions and keep what we love about Fort Worth in sight. So,
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, when I had a lot of folks that I know in the city and in the community that kept coming up to me and saying congratulations and condolences.
Yeah, right. Because it's all your fault now.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of take part of it as a challenge, right? And I've kind of trained for it. This has been my career, and so I look forward to coming to work every day and see what difference I can make and what things we can move forward. So.
Well, and I've met a lot of the people you work with, and you got a good crew, man.
I do.
Good people. Really.
I was joking this morning because we were talking about some of the federal guidelines about DEI and all those kind of things and things you have to deal with nowadays. And I said, well, one of the great things, all the people that work for me, none of them look like me. so that's a different way to put it, right? That it's a diverse group of really smart, hardworking public servants that bring their best every day. So I'm proud of working here. So
yeah, excellent. Now, you sound like a natural here. I know you're in front of the camera quite a bit, but how often do you get on a podcast?
This is my second one.
Was the other one with Maddie?
Maddie was the first one.
Yeah.
So.
What's it called? Her show? On the Go or Let's Go? Or sorry, Maddie.
It's
Go Time.
Go Time.
It's Go Time.
Go Time with Maddie Parker. Maddie Parker.
I should have had that written down. Sorry, Maddie. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you again for doing this with us. Fort Worth Roots really wants to be a resource for the city, the fire department, the police department. Anything we can do, we just want to help get the word out about stuff.
Well, I appreciate you and me asking. And like I said, I try to be accessible, and so I was happy to do it.
Yeah. And, if you've ever got we got this big thing to talk about. Let's get Andrew in here. Happy to do it.
Okay.
So drop what I'm doing and show up. Do you have anything that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, I would say I think coming up in the summer, it's going to be a busy time, and for citizens and folks to know and really keep track of, because we really do want the feedback, both on as we're developing and putting together the budget, and I'm presenting it to council in August, and how that's being rolled out. We want to have the feedback from citizens on what it looks like and what things are they happy with and what things they're not, and the bond program. So we're shooting for a May 26 bond election. Right now it's looking to be about $800 million in projects. And we're going to be doing a road show where we go out to the community to get feedback on the projects that are on the list.
Does that mean just having community events at different
community
centers?
Events at different centers, and you'll be able to also go on the website and give your comments, and if you want to add something, what would you take out and those kind of things, because it is it's going to be a hard number because of the depth capacity that we have. But we want to get folks' feedback. Not we know the folks that are going to come out. They come out all the time. We'd like to get a broader group of feedback from the citizens of Fort Worth.
Throw this out there. I just had coffee with this gentleman this morning. He is a local Fort Worth app developer, and he has something called Market Match. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It gives people the ability to kind of go in and give feedback on different things. And I wonder, Dimitri, if that would work. What Mr. Chop is talking about on Market Match. That sounds like fun, but it's swipe technology, so it's kind of like, what's that dating app where you swipe left, swipe right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
but I don't know
so
I've never been on a dating app.
well, good. It's terrible. Condolences to anybody that's on a dating app right now. Anyway, but it's got that swipe left, swipe right thing. So I wonder if the city could use that. All right, that's a rabbit trail. Well, Mr. Chapa, thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Keep up the good work, and can we get you back on the show sometime?
Sure. Give me a little bit of time and
more than
we can
3
make it
days.
happen. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Mr. Chapa, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, absolutely. See you guys. An absolute honor to sit there in that beautiful new building with City Manager Jay Chapa. Thank you so much for having us out. I've said this in some videos we did on social media. I said it at the beginning of this episode. We want to do more with the city, fire department, police department, mayor's office, city manager's office. Let us know how we can help you get the word out about what's happening in our community. We are here for it. You can email us here at Fort Worth Roots by, email media@fortworthroots.com. And we are doing everything we can to help with this media blackout. I can't remember if I talked about it in this episode or not, but it's hard to get the word out. And we are trying to be part of that solution to make sure that local voices get heard. Creators, 501c, our city officials, police department, fire department, we genuinely want to help you guys out. Every Tuesday at McFly's Pub, we get together to serve the same goal. We want to get you out there so that we can help you promote your business or whatever else you got going on. There's an audience mic that goes around Tuesday nights at McFly's starting at 5 o'clock. We'll have an interesting guest out there to do a podcast, but the underpinning of the night is to make sure that you have an opportunity to get your voice out on one of the most powerful podcast platforms in North Texas. So come on out, Tuesdays, McFly's Pub, 5 p.m., You don't have to bring business cards. We call it a not networking event, but there are going to be a lot of creative individuals in the room, and you'll have a chance to get on that audience mic and stick around, because whenever we get done and I pack up all the podcast gear, we'll step outside to one of the really badass murals on the backside of McFly's Pub, and we'll give you a chance to shout out your business one more time in a little 15-second video where you just say, hey, this is me. This is where you can find information about our business. Come check us out. And we do a little compilation video of all the business owners and creators, authors, anybody that's got something to promote. And we put it up on the Fort Worth Roots Instagram page, the TikTok page, and our Facebook. So that's another thing that we do. Let's talk about these sponsors real quick. By the way, we are looking for 3 anchor sponsors. We've got some really bold ideas, but we need some help. We're only taking on 3 more sponsors currently for the year 2025. Once we get that ironed out, we might go back to accepting other offers, but we are going to focus on 3 anchor sponsors. If you're interested in finding out what that means, hit me up, media@fortworthroots.com. All right, our sponsors are Donovan Manufacturing. Find them online at donovanmfg.com. Night Vision, thermals, machine gun rentals, AR-15 parts, classes, and more. Also under the same umbrella, get all of your print needs through our friends, banners, vehicle wraps, business cards, brochures, t-shirts, and anything else you might need. Find information on the print shop on Facebook at Dylan-Press. Also, you can email them, dylan@dylan-press.com. Purple Web Consulting, our buddy Jeff Zero, purplewebconsulting.com, website design and hosting, e-commerce integration, digital strategy, and consulting. You can get him on the phone at 817-629-6069. Making modern business tools accessible to the small business owner so that they can compete with the big dogs. Fort Worth Float Company, it's where we've been doing the morning show the past couple of days. It's here's what they ask you. Is your day filled with noise and distractions, overstimulating sounds and activities? Our daily lives have become overwhelmed with tasks and responsibilities, with very few ways to shut off the world for a brief moment. Welcome to Fort Worth Float Company. They specialize in providing sensory deprivation flotation tanks, providing the ultimate relaxation experience, offering various pricing and packages in 3 different tanks. Fort Worth Float Company meets everyone's floating needs. They also have cold plunge, sauna, and a few other services to provide excellent, state-of-the-art mental health and physical well-being services. Hoppin, Fort Worth, Weisenberger. Oh, my God. Okay, scratch that one. Folks, we talked about this in this episode. Media blackout, that's a thing. Also, it's very hard for these small businesses. Hoppin, I was about to read that off. They shut their doors permanently 3 days ago. And anyway, check on your small business owners because they're struggling. That's the message that we'll put in place of that ad. They're no longer with us. Michael, Holly, we love you. The Davis team, look no further for our friends than our friends at the Davis team for all your property needs. No commitment necessary. If you have any questions about property, then visit them online, yourdavisteam.com, or give them a call, 817-755-0504. I am reading these quickly, but all this information is in the show notes. The Davis team is in the process of selling a third home for us over here at Fort Worth Roots. Galaxy Wilderness Disc Golf. Galaxy Wilderness is dedicated to promoting disc golf to the masses for its health benefits through outdoor therapy, exercise, and camaraderie. Find them on Facebook as Galaxy Wilderness Disc Golf. Their website is galaxywildernessdg.com, and their phone number is 682-228-0399. They will bring out a disc golf course to your party or event, set it all up, let you play your heart out for as many days as you want, and then come back and collect the gear. They also have glow-in-the-dark baskets and glow-in-the-dark frisbees, discs, putters, whatever you call them. The Body Scrubbery, our homegirl Michelle, who is currently in California with her daughter for her graduation. Safe travels. TheBodyScrubbery.com, 925-808-8222. A boutique and unique spa experience. Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Luxury foot spa, full body scrubs, infrared heat wraps, massage, bubble tubs, mud wraps, facials, couples packages, and small group parties over there on Pennsylvania Avenue. And listen, if you don't know about it, you are behind the power curve. The folks out there filming for, I believe, Landman sent staff to the Body Scrubbery for a day of relaxation, and they bought multiple packages. So even our friends in Hollywood know about the Body Scrubbery, and you should too. You can find them on Instagram as The Body Scrubbery. Our homeboy, Darren Hauk, over there at Roofing Solutions by Darren Hauk. He's busy. He's very busy. Call him now so that you don't get lost in the shuffle. We had a huge hailstorm roll through. Roofs all over North Texas got beat up by golf ball size and larger hail. It only lasted about 10 minutes for most sections of our area, but that's enough, man. It doesn't take long for those big old hailstones to cause some really terrible damage. So get him up on your roof. He'll do a roofing inspection. He offers Fort Worth Roots listeners a 50% off. Now, a roofing inspection, roofing tune-up is what they call it. He'll get up there, he'll reseal all your pipe jacks and survey for any kind of damage that might lead to water intrusion or anything else that needs to get fixed up. So just mention Fort Worth Roots and holler at them over there at Roofing Solutions by Darren Hauk. Their phone number is 817-882-6520, and that is in the show notes. McFly's Pub, we love it there. It is a second home for Fort Worth Roots, 6104 LTJG Barnett Road here in Fort Worth. A badass little 1980s Back to the Future themed bar with an excellent outdoor patio, complete with fire pit and room for your fur baby. Daily drink specials and fun activities almost every day of the week. See what's new at McFly's on their Instagram page at McFly's Pub. Cloudland Recording Studios, cloudlandrecordingstudios.com. Cloudland Recording Studio is an analog and digital recording studio located in the heart of Fort Worth, just 1 mile from downtown and 5 minutes from the near Southside Entertainment District of Magnolia Avenue. And I probably shouldn't speak on this because I don't have a price list in front of me, but you're not going to find the combination of economy and professionalism and creativity that you find at Cloudland Recording Studio anywhere else. Joe Tacky, studio head and owner, he knows what he's doing. So if you're trying to get some clever stuff done on your next album or EP, holler at him. cloudlandrecordingstudios.com. That is all of our sponsors, guys, gals. Please put it on your schedule. I would love to see you out there at McFly's Pub this Tuesday. So come on out. And when I say this Tuesday, whenever you're listening to it, it is next Tuesday or this Tuesday because we do it every week, 5 o'clock, and we have an interesting guest. We do a little recording with them, and then we pass that microphone around so you guys can talk about whatever is going on in your life. And by the way, you don't even have to have a business. Some guy messaged me a couple days ago, said, hey, I'm a big fan of the Rangers. Can I come and just talk about the Rangers? Sure, buddy. You got 60 seconds. So whatever you want to do, man. We just want you to come out and have a good time. And oh, by the way, we're supporting another local business. Our buddy Dan is the owner. He took over that place a little over a year ago. Used to be owned by another individual. Why am I blank? Casey Smith, a Fort Worth legend. I think everybody knows that guy. But anyway, Dan stepped in there, took over, and has really cleaned that place up. And it's different. It's same, but different. But come check that out. Great drink specials. By the way, if you get there whenever I'm setting up at 3 o'clock, the power hour for drinks is stupid cheap. It's crazy. So anyway, come on out. 3 o'clock's whenever I get there, start setting up. You can hang out with me until 7 o'clock. Tommy Luke gets on the mic and does the little open mic thing, and musicians and comedians and poets show up from all over North Texas. He doesn't care what kind of format you got. He'll let you get on that mic. You just got to sign up. So it's a fun night. And for me on Tuesdays, I'm out of there by 7 o'clock. That's perfect for a weekday, right? Okay, folks, that's enough out of me. We do well, I guess it's not. I just want to tell you about the morning show real quick. Monday through Thursday, we do a morning show. And I record at 8 o'clock, and then it goes out by 9 a.m. And we do this every single week. And the only reason we do this is so that we can help you promote stuff and get people up to date with what's happening in the community. I want you to put this number down in your phone as part of your rollout for anything you got going on, any kind of event at all. Hit us up, leave us a voicemail, 817-988-1292. We will play it on the show. Now, if I can ask you to go a step further, take an audio recording on your phone and email it to us, media@fortworthroots.com. It sounds so much better. And if you're not big into emails, Instagram. You can just send us a message through there. There's a little microphone option on your DM. You can click that, leave a message telling me about your event or whatever you got going on, and send it to me through Instagram's DM, and we will play it on the show. Don't believe me? Try me out. Okay, that is enough talking out of me. My goodness. One more time, Mr. J. Chapa, City Manager of Fort Worth, thank you so much for letting us take some of your time and tell folks a little bit about you and your journey to becoming the City Manager of Fort Worth. And we hope to do a lot more with you and your compadres up there at City Hall. Until next time, folks, thank y'all for listening, and I'll see you soon. Peace.